You're listening to PDR Tool Talk, all about PDR stories, tools, and techniques.
For the thousands in attendance, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo, along with Daniel Grom, Vince D'Alessandro, and John Hiley. Welcome to episode 84. We're going to get into this. So how is everybody? What's crack-a-lackin'? How's your week going?
Doing good, Mike. Doing good.
Welcome, everyone.
Busy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, man, I'm doing a gangster mobile in here right now.
Yeah, I saw that in the background of one of your moth videos.
Yeah.
What's a gangster mobile?
Well, it's sitting on 20. Well, I don't know, like it might be 50s. I don't know what it's sitting on, but it looks like you ever see like a giant Hot Wheel? It has them giant rims on it and all that stuff. This thing is it's a color changer. Like, you know, it's like chameleon, but it changes from gold to purple.
Yeah.
It looks like a 70s Cutlass or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's like a 70s style Cutlass. Thing is painted up, and the guy comes in, and he's got, you guys know them dents where somebody's plastic mirror hits the car and runs like a crease down the vehicle, like you can tell,
or like a trash can. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it was definitely somebody's mirror because he said he wiped off black stuff, you know, and all that. But this thing went down that whole quarter panel and put probably a 30-inch crease down the panel. And like it came in, and I was like, I don't want to do this, man. I'm like, I was like, and I'm like giving all these excuses. He's like, I just paid $10,000 for this paint job. He's like, you know, and the paint job's legit. It is very, very nice. And I'm like, I don't know, man, like $1,700. He's like, done. He's like, can I drop it off now? I'm like, no, it's gonna be like 2 or 3 weeks, you know, before I can get it in. But and he showed up. I was like sitting there wondering, I was like, is this guy really going to show up, you know? And all of a sudden I'm sitting here that morning and I hear bump, 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 bump out in front of my shop. I'm like, yep, he's here.
Dude, so I did one of those cars too a while back and talked to the owner. There's a magazine for those cars. There's a whole subculture for those cars. It's really big back where you're at, but and they're old Cutlasses, and I don't know why anybody would pour that much money into one of those cars.
You know what this guy looks like? This guy looks like, you guys remember Debo on Friday?
Yeah.
You remember big old Debo? That's this guy. Like, he is an absolute giant.
Yeah.
And so his car is like giant. You know what I mean? The seats slid way back, and it's got that big old bench seat on it. I got to admit, though, you know, I got in that
couch
thing.
Inside.
It's got the wooden steering wheel, and it's got the big wooden gear shifters. And I got to admit, like, I got in that. I was like, this thing kind of floats like like you're riding on a cloud, man.
You're like riding on your Barca Lounger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, that was my first car. Was when I was 15. I bought a Sacco, or what was it? 7374 Monte Carlo, which is the same as Cutlass.
So what do we got in old news there, Vince?
Old news. Well, last episode. What was last episode? The Shop Talk. We were following up and finding out how Mike.
That was good. I actually got a call. Didn't you get a call from a guy?
Did I?
Yeah, from Texas.
No.
He said he called you. He called me.
Not from Texas. I got a call from Georgia.
Maybe.
Anyways,
yeah. Anyway.
No, I've gotten a lot of responses about that because there's a lot of PDR guys that are considering getting in the shop, and I think it was very informative. We were getting into it a little bit. We were getting on each other, and it was good. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah. So that was the old news or last episode. If you did not tune into that was episode number 83. And some other old news or current news right now is what's going on with Dent Gear. People are talking about that quite a bit. I don't know if you guys...
What's going on there?
Well, there's a lot of unfilled orders, and there's a lot of questions out there as to whether or not Dent Gear is still a legitimate, liable company. And we don't have any answers for that exactly. I think, Daniel, you did have some conversation.
Their website's down. I texted Sal, and he just said, I don't know why it's down.
We actually dispatched our on the street reporter to find out some more news about this, and he's disappeared. So no news back from him either.
Gotcha. So,
and if you are our shows, you know that we do not have an on the street reporter.
So we got news about no news.
Yeah.
No news, except for we are doing our best to find out what's going on with Dent Gear, because a lot of us do like to buy Dent Gear tools, and the Moose Knuckle is sold through Dent Gear, and that's a new product that's out right now.
Yeah.
Are you using that, Mike?
I am. My students love it, and matter of fact, one of my students today said I want to order it, and I don't know if he's gonna be able to order it now. I'm not sure. Yeah. So
yep.
I'll have to talk to Josh.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's and I'm not going to say anything bad, because I mean it's got to be hard running a PDR tool company, especially with as many products and stuff like that. Like, I sell a few products, and I'm like, man, this is like craziness. So I'm not knocking anybody or anything like that, but ultimately there was a lot of time where you weren't getting the level of customer service that you would expect from some of the other companies. You know what I mean? And from my understanding that it's probably something that would happen to me if I wouldn't focus down and get some help. But it was kind of a little bit disorganized, which caused eventually people to be dissatisfied from a long time ago, like until now. And I think that hurts a business. It compounds a business over time. And again, we all think Sal's great. We've had him on our show and all that kind of stuff. So this isn't a knock on him, but I honestly think that he knows that the customer service of that company had been slipping for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he definitely does know that.
Since day one, if we want to be brutally honest.
If we want to be brutally honest.
It's always, in my opinion, it's always been it's been mismanaged. I think, in my opinion, if Sal brought someone in there to actually manage that company, it would have been more successful than it is.
I mean, that's an example of just knowing your strengths and weaknesses. And sometimes you got to have, bring somebody in to fill a void that might not be your strength.
And I hate to see that go away, because he does bring something to the table. I think it's valuable for our industry. So I'd hate to see him.
And his tools are unique.
Yeah. And he's actually one of the big companies that actually come out to Mobile Tech Expo. You see him there all the time.
Oh, his display's massive, and his tools are unique. They're the only spring steel that are coated with what is that? It's chrome, right? It's chrome plated spring steel,
like a nickel plated or something.
Yeah, there's really nothing like that out there. I haven't seen. Do you guys even know of a company that does that other than them?
No.
So it's a unique process.
Yeah. And his tools are great, and Sal's a great dude. We all like Sal. He's a good guy. Just get your.
I got his Mark Zirkus set, and I love it. And then his devil tip, his flat bar devil tip, that's the only tool that will work on the edge of a front fender lip. I mean, it's my go-to tool. If I didn't have that tool, I'd be in trouble.
That's a Dent Wizard tool right there.
Yeah, I use the original Dent Wizard one.
Right. Honestly, he makes one of the best shaved, what is it? They call it the Excalibur tool. It's really super thin that goes way high.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that tool.
Mike, after having that Excalibur, I can't live without it.
I know.
I've got the PDR Finesse version, but it's got the adjustable handle, and I didn't have that thing for years, and I just picked one up last year. And man, you can, and they're all the same. So you get it from a company; they're pretty much built the same. But man, you could slip that into the door braces, upper door braces, rear sail panels. I mean, the thing's a really nice, long, very strong shave tool.
Yeah, it's one of a kind. Don't break it, because it'll probably take you a while to get another one. So
they're expensive.
Yeah. So all right, moving on. So,
and then what about? Do we want to talk about Ike?
Oh yes, Ike.
Yeah, Ike.
Yeah.
So
about Ike?
No, I haven't heard anything. Why? What's up?
He's got cancer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Okay,
prayers go out to him and his family. And
When did this come out?
Just
a
about 3
couple
days.
days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. See, that's why I don't read social media. And you guys see it on Facebook or something like that?
Yeah.
PDR 2-time revolution page.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have been out of the loop of the social media. I've been so busy. So wow. Yeah, I'll have to give him a call.
Yeah. Give us an on-site report
I will.
back to us. All right.
Yeah.
So,
So prayers to Ike.
yeah,
He's a fighter. He's going to get out there and fight it. He'll be all right.
yeah.
all right, hang in there, man.
Yeah.
So that moves us on to our subject. We're going to be picking different tool companies, and we're going to go on their website, and we're going to talk about their tools. And we want to kind of break it down to what would you suggest to a new tech, a guy hasn't been or just getting into the business. What tools would you suggest at that particular tool company, and what would you suggest for a veteran? And then what you might want on that website that you don't have, and maybe stuff that you do have that you really, really love and can't do without.
I don't mean to put us on the spot, but I thought we were talking about just generally this is going to be a company just about Dentcraft. So we're talking about any company?
No, we're talking about Dentcraft.
Okay. All right. Just wanna
So
make sure.
we're talking about Dentcraft specifically. So each time we do this segment, we'll talk about a different
Okay.
company. So today we're talking about Dentcraft. Dentcraft's one of the oldest tool companies, been around forever. Let me bring up some show notes for myself. Sorry about that. So I'll start us off with first of all,
a little bit of the history of Dentcraft. We all kind of knew the owner, right?
Yep.
That don't know. Mike?
Yep.
With
Sid. Yeah.
Sid?
So Sid was the owner, and he passed away in a tragic airplane accident. And unfortunately, I think he was instrumental in making new stuff for that company. And I think you haven't seen a lot of new stuff from them, really. I mean, you've seen accessories, some small accessories and things like that. But generally speaking, I haven't seen anything revolutionary as far as tools come out of there since.
Well, Daniel, here's what you got to remember is that, Dent we're talking about Dentcraft, right?
Yep.
So Dentcraft, they don't really work with the technicians. I mean, that's one thing that I've noticed about their company. Like, I've never received a phone call from them. They don't really participate in any of the things that we've had going on in the past. They really are not open to participation in events or anything like that in the regard to like working with like us at Dent Trainer. And when we were doing PDR Nation, they didn't really want to participate in any of that. So there's a little bit of a disconnect between the technicians, because I'm here to tell you that most of these tools that we're coming out with day to day that are so amazing, they're coming from some technician calling the tool company and saying, hey, this is what I want. Because the guys on the field are molding our industry. And if you're not in direct communication with the guys that are out there in the field that are trying to push the limits on day to day, then you lose your innovation.
You're absolutely 100% right about that.
So maybe he was the direct connect between the technician base that's out there and, relaying that to his company.
Yeah, and I got to be on the other side too. Is that and they are great people, especially the guys who are trying to really help bring it up. But I think, like you said, John, they're stagnant. They just don't have a customer relationship person that can actually connect their company with. It's not just one tech like myself or John or Daniel or Vince, or you got to connect to like 50 different type of techs who can be branched off with you. And hey, I'm not saying send us free tools. I'm just saying, hey, hey, Mike, what do you think about this tool? You don't even have to send us tools. You just have to get other techs' opinions about things and what they would want out there in the real world. You know what I mean?
Do they feedback. Custom make tools, Mike? Do you know that?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
That's a problem. Yeah. That's a problem, because now if you're not custom making them for the guys out there, then you're not getting any cutting edge designs. or you're not understanding that maybe this design that this guy gave you to make, you can reproduce it, and sell it to other.
I could be wrong though, okay? Because I
don't think you are, because I reached out to them trying to get them to make a tip for motorcycles, and I said, hey, I want this. I basically wanted their red tips, and I wanted them to dip it in bead blast, and then so the bead blast would be in the red.
Oh, the R44, the red cherry cap.
Oh, anti-slip, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it wouldn't slip.
Now that makes sense.
And
we were laughing at you at first, and then we're like, "Whoa, wait a second!" Now we see where you're going with it.
And they just looked at me cross-eyed and said, "Yeah, no."
Sorry, dude. That's not the way we do things around here.
We don't know for sure.
Buy our old shit or go.
Yeah. What were you saying, Vince?
We don't know for sure because Dentcraft is based out of Oklahoma, and there is a large population of hail technicians in Oklahoma. And like you said, Dentcraft has been around a long time, and their tools are rock solid, rock steady. But like you said, no new innovation. But maybe they're not catering to new innovation. Maybe they're catering to the rock solid hail tech, because not everyone's on social media.
Yeah.
There's thousands of technicians out there that might just purchase.
But here's what I see is they remind me of a company that used to be great, was PDQ. PDQ was like that, and got out of it and sold to his wife, and she just kept the status quo, and now I don't even know if they're in business anymore. So that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah. In other words, we're throwing that out there because we do not want Dentcraft to fall like PDQ or Dent Magic or a few other companies that have Inventure. Inventure's gone. They did not stay up with new tool innovation at all.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But you go look at their tool sets.
You guys are doing a podcast.
I've always scratched my head at their tool sets because they have their right angle flag tools, and they have them in 1/2 inch increments.
Brianna, be quiet.
And I'm sorry, I don't need a bunch of those tools in 1/2 inch increments. I need a small, medium, and large. I don't need all those in betweens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, but most go ahead, Vince. Sorry.
The company set, is that what you're talking about?
If you look at their tool sets, and they have all the same, it's basically all the same tool, but in 1/2 inch increments.
Okay.
And you're paying for all those tools. You don't need all those. You only need a small, medium, and large.
Well, Daniel, if you look at most tool sets out there, they boggle my mind. Like literally, I look at them and I'm like, no way. I mean, could I could work with that. That's why I developed tool set, just because it tailors to what I do. And I wanted something like some of our Dent Trainer members have always asked. And I wanted something just like Mike has his tool set that he goes from Ultra Dent Tools. It's really about who's teaching you, you know what I mean, in a way. You know what I'm saying? So you buy, because I think that's why so many people get out of their dent training and they look at tool sets and they're boggled. I mean, it's just like,
oh yeah,
because like that's not what I learned with. And, so I think it almost comes down to whoever like somebody's trained by, like you're going to pick up their techniques, you're going to have their tools in your hands, and you're going to end up wanting something that fits that mold.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. You guys know I have everybody's tools, and I think one of the best things about, I'm not trying to say if you come to me and train, at least you're getting an open set of tools.
Did he freeze?
I think Mike froze.
It's okay. I can hear you guys. So, but anyways, I'm recording, so it won't interrupt. Anyways, let's go back. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think the great thing about if you are going to get trained is that you do work with well-rounded tools. You work with all types of tools to find out what's going to work best for you. And I think that this is one of the best topics, Daniel, you come up with, is because we can at least give our opinions of what we think are some great tools, at least out of Dentcraft, that I would recommend, that you would recommend, that are for new students, and and veteran students. Of course, that's what this topic is about. That's what we're getting into. So,
and the challenge is everybody's kind of caught up to Dentcraft. Like if you look at a handset of tools, you can buy a good handset from Dentcraft, or you could go to Ultra and buy the same quality, but they have removable handles. And I got to tell you, that is a big advantage. Being able to take a tool and pull it off, swap it to left or right. And I constantly do it now, and I couldn't live without that. And then if I want to put a T handle on it, I can put a T handle on it. If I want to put an extension on it, I can put an extension on it. And those are the advantages that I see that Dentcraft's not grabbing onto, and they need to, I think.
well, I think every company should be doing removable handles now, because look at how much weight you save when you actually, if you're traveling hail tech, or if you're flying too, especially because they go by weight, right?
Yeah.
And the handles will alone probably extra 20 pounds, if you add them all the tools up.
And how about organizing it, Mike?
Yeah. You won't have to worry about handles sticking up or making all kinds
You put all your tools in a toolbox, Mike, and you wouldn't be able to do that with those. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that with those handles.
No. It just looks way better organization. You see your tools better. They're not. It's not clumpy, everything. It's matter of fact, I actually took a Dentcraft tool, and of course, Nate over at Ultra has been a little lagging on us. Nate, if you listen to this, took a Dentcraft handle, and I had it cut off because I do like the tube handles. I think Dentcraft has one of the most comfortable handles on the market, to be honest with you. It's simple, but it's comfortable. And if they can find a way to take their handles and make it adjustable, that itself would just shoot them way up front. I mean, people would be buying their tools off the market, but I don't know, man. I don't know why they don't listen.
They don't have ratcheting handles either.
They don't need a ratchet handle. You can do all kinds of different ways to make an adjustable handle.
Well, see, I gotta doing hail damage cars. You gotta when in your hand tools, if you got like them Aussie tools and stuff like that, it is money to have ratcheting handles, because I'm telling you, you'll go right into one cavity to the right, and then you'll just flip it and go into the left.
Yeah.
And anytime you got to stick that tool down and go find the other right left angle, you're losing time, you're losing money. And if you guys are anything like me, I leave the damn things everywhere around my shop. I mean, I can walk off to do an estimate and lay a tool somewhere in the most random area, and I come back and I'm chasing that thing down forever. So I want to minimize as many distractions and potential time-wasting activities as possible, especially as a hail technician.
Yeah, I agree, John. It's all about being efficient. And if you stop wasting minutes looking for your stuff and being more organized, you over the months, over the years, years, you're saving hours, thousands of hours of being a bit more efficient.
And I think that's one of the big points with all of us veteran technicians now is when we were younger, we had the time and energy to walk around a shop looking for our tools. But now it's all about efficiency. I want everything. That's why I have my mat. That's why I developed the mat, because everything just sits on my mat, and boom, I'm right there. I've trained myself now. First thing, mat, tools I'm going to use, boom, right there on the roof of the car, back and forth, because I'm getting old. I can't be walking around a shop looking.
No, that thing helps me a ton as well, Vince. So I'm like you, I had to train myself.
It's a retraining of it, though.
Yeah.
It is.
So every time I'd forget to put it on your mat, I just take one of my tools and just whip myself in the back with it.
Whack yourself.
One of my nice wire tools, I just give myself one lash. And that works.
Yeah.
You guys should try it.
All right. So how are we going to start this? Let's get into this, because I me, I'm always on a time crunch here. So
yeah.
Well, what tools do you love from Dentcraft that you have?
Dude, R44, man. R4 and the R44. I mean, that's just my go-to tip. My only complaint about that is they made it just a little bit too thick, too wide. I can't get it in half-inch holes without making that hole a little bit bigger. I wish they would just taper it down a little bit. And man, it's the perfect tip all around. Set it down,
You're
perfect.
so
tip.
right.
So I just wish.
So I got a new tool. I can't talk about who sent it to me, but it's basically like a VIP knockdown, but bigger diameter, and the cherry tip fits on it.
Jeremy?
No.
Almost had him, dude. Almost had him.
No, it wasn't Jeremy.
Dave Strain?
And that thing, no, Pinto.
Oh, yeah?
Dave Pinto,
Yeah, okay.
Dave Pinto.
the dent guy.
And that thing is so friggin' awesome. It's like my favorite knockdown for soft paint and motorcycles now. Just loving that thing.
Dang, Dave Pinto, what did I ever do to you, man? Shoot, man.
But it was a prototype, and I had to modify him a little bit, and he agreed with my modification. So I'm encouraging him to, hey, go forward. He was a little indecisive if he should market it. So I need to market that.
Well,
sure.
why do I like them? And I'm sure you guys have your own reasons. Why do I like them? Because I can use them. It's the only tip that I can actually use. Technically, if I had one, I can still use without changing the cap as a push cap and as a tap down cap without changing it. So I'm worried about if it's dirty or if it's demalled or uneven, or if I mushroomed it. It just works for a very long time in cold or hot weather. It doesn't slip when you're tapping it. It doesn't slip generally when you're pushing it, and it gives you nice, hard, firm pushes. But my only complaint is the diameter of it. I can't fit it in half-inch holes without making the half-inch hole bigger.
And see, that's the kind of thing that they need to hear and change, because that's my number one complaint. But their tips are phenomenal. There's I mean, if you don't have their tips, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, you need to start doing them 3/4 inch holes anyway. They give you a little more elbow room to get in there. I like to be able to get my hands in the holes, in case I got to move things around, things like that.
Yeah. All right. What tool you like, Vinny?
Okay, well.
That's right. You don't own any Dentcraft tools.
I own a lot of Dentcraft.
Actually, you bought a bunch the last trip to.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Yeah, but I've had Dentcraft for years. And what I cannot live without is the 6-inch heavy brace tool. I have a left and a right, which is the red handle. And I also have then it jumps up. Like Daniel said, I don't need a 7-inch or an 8-inch brace tool. Heavy brace tool. I jump from a 6-inch to I believe it's a 10 or 14-inch. Because with the 10 and 14-inch, I could just pull it out a little bit, and that's a 6-inch brace tool. Or a 10-inch brace tool, whatever, Yeah. But for tight areas, all along the tops of the doors, when I'm going through a handle hole or a small hole, I'm using the heavy brace tools. And the reason why I love Dentcraft tools, and this is going to sound strange, but I prefer Dentcraft over Ultra. And I know you got, John and Mike definitely, and Daniel, you guys love Ultras, but I do not like tools that flex, and Dentcraft tools do not flex at all. And that's my go-to for heavy brace tools.
Cool.
Yeah. Understand that. So I guess Daniel, did you go yet?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So the only tools that I have that are Dentcraft are their whale tails. And from an early on standpoint, they were definitely at the cutting edge of any whale tail that was ever out. In my opinion, they surpassed like anything early on. And I've got an entire set all the way from their smaller one, which is the pink one that is notorious. It's a great hand tool, and I think it's about a 3-inch whale tail. And I can't even tell you, that thing is so broke down and so charred on the edges and all that. I probably need a new one, but it goes all the way up to the really long one. I think I got one that's like 72 inches long or something like that. And I got every whale tail in between. It takes a long time to tear up a Dentcraft whale tail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they are so consistent. Now, I do have other whale tails in my arsenal now, but all in all, I mean, it's up there. They still have a top level whale tail that can compete with any whale tail that's on the market.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I agree there too, John, because the reason I was calling you Steve is because I was talking to Steve the other day, and this came from Steve Hoff the other day, and we're talking about whale tails, and Steve does agree that Dentcraft has probably the best whale tails out there, and that's coming from Steve Hoff. And this is not underground secret, but he knows it as a a big PDR toolmaker company, that Dentcraft does have one of the best whale tails. And speaking of that, did I just jump you, Daniel? Did you already go? Did you go?
No.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Well, I'm not going to jump you, dude. So good.
Well, actually, that was one of the things I had on my list was their whale tails, and the one I like a lot is their extra wide one, and they were the first ones to come out with an extra wide one. And if you guess why I like the extra wide one, because you can grind on it and make it any shape you want.
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Well, Daniel, they did have extra wide ones previous to that, but they were called glue cutters. And then, Dentcraft, yeah, you're right. They came out with the really marketed, and they flared that tip in a way that, like what you're saying there, when it comes to a big cavity, them things are awesome.
Yeah. No, I have to agree with you, Daniel. I and John, I agree with the whale tails. I have a set that is actually, if you ask for it, for Dentcraft, it's called the Dent Time Mike Toledo set. This is one of the tools I'm going to mention in there is the 1/2 inch
secret menu.
Yeah, there's a secret menu there. You have to ask for it. So it's usually my students order it and it's already ready for them, and then it just goes. But anyways, it's a 1/2 inch head whale tail. The 1/2 inch, it's only, like I said, 1/2 inch wide, super thin, man. And it can get right to any door seam in the front that you want. Or it could go underneath the drain holes of a door panel and sneak way up in between the braces. You know what those tools work great for? Is when you're doing those, those old 944s, those Porsches.
Yeah.
And you can't get any leverage to the top of the window because it's got a curve. But if you go underneath those drain holes with this 1/2 inch whale tail, you're just going to butter out those dents out so nice with those 1/2 inch whale tails. So,
when's the last time you worked on a 944?
Dude, I work on all the vintage rides, dude. All the time.
I haven't worked on a 944 and God, I can't even remember what year.
It doesn't have to be a 944. It can be any of those older classics.
I know,
Yeah, the 911 turbos as well, Mike. They got them big drain holes in the bottom.
Yeah.
And you can't get to them braces from the top of the door. I mean, you got to have a curve on your tool that's crazy.
Yeah.
And if you ever get a 911 via Porsche, pop out them rubber plugs in the bottom, take the whale tail Mike's talking about there, throw it in there, it'll hit it. Or do what I did. See, I broke mine. I had a Dentcraft one, and years of abuse and heating it and stuff like that, I snapped it, and I never replaced it, but I actually changed it out with a shave tool. I've been using a shave tool in all them spots.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the great thing about the whale tails is that they can bend, and they bend and bend and bend as long as you don't heat them up, guys. There's no reason for you to heat them up these days, but you can bend them back and forth, and they're rigid. Like Vince, this is Vince. I don't like it to flex. And that's the great thing about the whale tails is when you twist what the whale tails of Dentcrafts is that you're getting all the drive to the head and not in the middle of the shaft where you don't need it. And that's a weak whale tail when you do get those. So
yeah, I still heat my whale tail. I still have several designated whale tails that I heat just for glue cutting. Cause there's like, sometimes you get a car, like you get some of them newer BMWs and a few years back, I don't remember the model. I mean, you could put a Jojo on that thing trying to cut through it, and it will not budge. And all you like, I have designated whale tails that I torture them until they are bright orange, and I just tell you just shove that thing through there real quick. You just hear it, and then smoke coming out everywhere. Don't breathe it; it's like crack.
Have you guys?
It smells like.
Have you tried this tech tip before, John? Have you tried actually, instead of heating up your tool, heat up the panel right on where the glue's at? Like really put a lot of heat on it and see if that works.
I'm like when I'm jumping around a hail car, my biggest problem with that is that I get so excited. Like I'm always trying to be like the fastest guy on the planet Earth. And
you got a blowtorch next to you
to get a heat gun out. I'm just like, literally, I got my torch sitting there. I'm like, boom, and like fix it real quick, pull that one out. Sometimes I even sizzle it. Like I put it down in the water and use the same whale tail right back into it.
See, that's a bad thing.
I know. It hardens it, and that's why I snap them, and that's why I will buy new ones.
Yeah, and I'm the same thing, John. I have my sacrificial whale tails, and I heat them glowing red hot.
I get mine like bright. Like I'm not happy until it's glowing. You remember like the Simpsons, that thing that fell off on his back, like on the that big glowing thing? That's what my whale tail looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the Hale guys out there shaking their head and laughing with me. I guarantee it.
They're all doing it.
They're all doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think we could all agree. I have whale tails too from Dentcraft. That's really, that and Blem are the only two whale tails that I have. I don't have any other company but Dentcraft and Blem. So definitely all four of us, thumbs up, get the whale tails. Don't get them in 2-inch increments. You buy a whole set. It's I think it's wasteful to buy a whole set, but I have a mixed bag depending on the and the width of the tip.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite things about Dentcraft is their dent dollies. Do you guys have their dent dollies?
I have one.
How about you, Mike?
Are you talking about the dent dolly where you they have the little area where you can put your tool against it and it gives you leverage?
They're just blocks of plastic.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, red, blue, and yellow.
No, we don't have those. We have the leverage blocks.
Leverage block.
Yeah, the leverage blocks. But they have dent dollies, and what's great about dent dollies is they have them in different colors, 3 different colors, and they have different curves on them. And if you've ever worked in the back of a quarter panel where the bumper meets the quarter panel and that edge is bent, that's where that thing comes in and it'll straighten out that edge. You can match the curve that you need, or when you have a dent that's kind of like on the edge of a where the hood is in the fender, and it's bent the edge, the 90-degree edge, and you can tap it with that and it brings that edge back straight again. So the dent dollies like them.
I've always been meaning to get that. I haven't got one of those yet.
And they're if you guys are wondering, let's see,
They're $29. They're $30.
yeah,
For a set of 3. That might be one of my major purchases at MTE this year.
Major purchase.
Major push. That might be. He's serious too. He wasn't meaning it as a joke. He just happened to come out. That's one of my major purchases.
And I've always wanted one of them too, Vince, and I've never bought one. I don't know what it is.
That's gonna be one of my major purchases.
We'll go there and I'll try and get a twofer.
It's fucking funny. Excuse my
you
language.
guys are funny.
But yeah, that's and another tech tip for y'all out there, you can also buy a regular dolly, and they now have rubber caps for like aluminum repair work.
Yeah.
So just about any Mack truck or Snap-on truck is going to sell like a setup where you can do rubber caps over top of the original dollies. And again, that's just because of cross contamination between steel and aluminum. There's a lot of cool things coming out because of that.
Gabby, be quiet, please.
Now, Mike, don't you have a Dentcraft aluminum slide hammer?
No,
No.
I don't have it because I don't like it because it's too light. I don't like light slide hammers. Nothing against them, but it's too light for me. I tell you what I do have. What I do like though, I do like the one of their smallest hand tools, and it's basically what is it? It's like a 90-degree. It's a yellow tool. Let me just, what do I got? Oh yeah, okay. It's a small 90-degree 8-inch wire tool. It's the W508. It's only $23. This sucker will push hail like on aluminum. It will do braces. It will do anything that near a door edge. It is just a strong inline, like just a small 90-degree wire tool, and it is badass. So I think Dentcraft has the strongest wires I've ever used. I think I've had one snap on me in like 23, 24 years. So
yeah,
within that time. So, but it is, again, I'll repeat it one more time. It's the small 90-degree 8-inch wire tool W508. It's $23.95 at the time that I was putting it down. So,
Mike, is that a stiff wire tool, like one that's got some power?
Yeah,
you gotta have that,
dude.
Do you guys ever remember getting like your first tool set where you had that wire tool that was like wobble, 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 and like you couldn't get some drive on the end of that tool to save your life? Have you guys ever had one of them?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, man. There's one time, it was the littlest dent. And I got one of them suckers and slid that sucker in there. I turned the whole handle around, had the whole shaft of that thing. I'm like, who the hell came up with this? And how was there ever supposed to be a dent fixed with it?
Yeah.
You know?
What's funny is one of my favorite tools that Dent Crafts has is their little tiny giveaway one.
Oh yeah.
It's like the miniature. It's only about like maybe 2 inches long or an inch. No, it's about an inch long, right?
No, it's longer than that. It's probably 4 or 5 inches long.
Yeah, but it's a mini. It's a little mini tool that they used to give away at shows,
like a business.
And you can, if you got like that little dent right next to the keyhole, you punch a hole with your awl, and then you can stick that thing in there and work it out.
Or fronts at hoods, like that tiny little drain hole in the front of a hood, that little tiny tool fit in there. Now, there's one tool that I don't have, but I know a lot of people do have is their dent bench. For their hood
quick bench.
The quick bench, yes. They call it the dent bench.
I love that quick bench, dude.
Now,
Do you have it?
Honestly, I did have it, and one of my
Tell us about it, Mike.
Dude, okay, first of all, it sets up in seconds. It is sturdy. I've never slipped off of it. It's easy to store. It is sturdy as hell. Even John Hiley can stand on it. And
yeah,
and I'm telling you guys, it is worth every penny that you buy it for. And so and it's adjustable legs. It can go super high. You can do those giant vans. You can do whatever you're working on with ease and not worry about falling off your stool. So
and didn't he invent that?
I'm not sure.
Because I remember him back in the NACE days, and I'm pretty sure he invented that. I think that's maybe how might have got started doing some stuff.
Huh.
Yeah,
interesting. Now,
and that bench is $359, by the way.
$359. That's not a bad deal. Now, when Daniel and myself were down in Texas at Anson Tools, I did pick up some more Dentcraft tools, and it's the mini fender rod set. Actually, I didn't pick up the set because once again, it falls into the category of redundancy with the lengths being, only a couple inches off from each other. But I ended up getting the 24-inch, and the 24 and the 12-inch. And to me, those were the two tools there's a set of 4 that you could buy. But having those two tools were versatile enough to get to everything that I needed them to get to. And one thing that you'll notice is when you're working on those Silverados and Silverado front fenders that have the factory holes, you can't get into the wheel well at all because it's all blocked up. And you have the factory holes along the lip of the wheel well. Well, that mini fender rod actually fits into those small holes. And it's a double bend tool, too. And it's strong as all can be. It doesn't bend at all. And that's a great tool to get into those factory holes with. I use it for other things, too, in keyholes, to get around handles and things like that. The double bend comes in handy a lot of the times when the wire, when you have the single bend wire. Yeah, very sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Vince,
got a nice tip to it too.
Down here in Ohio, we call them the Silverados. And you know why them Ford trucks come lifted, don't you?
For access?
Nah, because they don't want their skirt to hit the ground.
Oh.
I had to chase down a Ford driver the other day, left his purse on the roof.
Left his purse on the roof. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Gotta stir them up, man.
Yeah.
That's all from that dude. If you guys ever watched that video, Chevy versus Ford, I think his name is like Ameriking or something like that. It's dude's hilarious. You guys probably haven't seen that, but I know a lot of the listeners out there have. Tons of people seen that YouTube video. But we need to move on to some tech tips. So Vince, go ahead and take us in there with your impression.
Okay. Tech tip. Well, I actually listed it today.
Wait. Stop sucking eggs, Vince.
Oh, sorry.
We haven't heard that in a while, man. I think our listeners want to hear it.
Eggs. Time for PDR tech tips.
Hey, stop sucking eggs. It's time for PDR tech tips.
Boing. Wow, boing.
Yeah, that has been missing from our podcast.
I know, man.
I know,
Like,
I know. Mary's like, they're probably sick of me talking like that. I was like, no,
No.
they never get sick of that.
Nah, we love Mary.
Hey, we're up to episode 84. It's almost vintage, right?
That is true.
Ooh.
Mary Toledo, old school.
Yeah.
Okay, tech tips. Okay, I listed a tech tip today or yesterday on PDR Tool Time Revolution. If you guys have a T-Hot box or the Dent box, and you have a stubborn screw that has Loctite on it, or just stubborn and doesn't want to come out, most people know that if you heat up a nut or a screw with heat, it expands, and then you could get the nut out or the screw out. Well, the hot box takes the place of putting a torch on something that you can't heat up, and damage the paint around it. So you throw your T-Hot box up there, your Dent box, blast it with a whole bunch of electricity and heat that sucker up, and it'll break free the nut or the screw in seconds.
That's a good
Damn,
idea.
dude. How you like that hot box?
I'm liking it. You know what? I'm pulling it out and using it. It's a lot easier when you have a shop.
It is.
Myself and Mike, we got a Dent box, and we've been trying it out. We'll be talking about it here and there, and giving you our impressions of it. But I've in the shop, it's right there. So I grab it and I test it out constantly on everything. I even used it on a motorcycle tank.
Well, it's made by YO. That's the Chinese brand. That's $5.99 or something like that.
Yeah, but did it do anything on the motorcycle?
It did, but it was a 78 Kawasaki tank.
Okay,
So
super
I
light.
was really worried about frying the paint on it because it was a one-off tank. It was off of a KZ 1000, which was worth gazillion $1,000 something.
Yeah.
Like
All right.
But
That's good.
yeah, it worked. But he's actually bringing me an old beat up tank so I could sample it and see what happens with the hot blocks.
Don't forget to talk about that. That's the agreement.
Yes, I will talk about it.
I already gave you guys a tech tip. I was telling John, hey, try it. If you guys have a glue and you don't have a torch near you, I actually use heat, like a heat gun on a panel. Maybe I'm doing a Bentley. I know a lot of you guys aren't doing a Bentleys, but if you have a door panel that has really like stupid, stubborn sound deadening on it, like that fiberglass crap, man, take a heat gun to that panel and take a whale tail, take anything that's sharp and just scrape it right off. It comes right off. It's super easy to do that. So
I'm going to try it with the hot box,
yeah, you probably could. Yeah.
the Dent box.
Yeah.
So I got a tech tip here for you, kind of in the glue pulling range of things. So the other day, I was using big ass Atlas Titan on a car. And it was one of them ones where I couldn't get off. I mean, I was spraying alcohol on it. I was taking my window wedge and I was trying to, get under the edge of it. And I was trying to get it off the car. And I really didn't want to pull it again because even after I sprayed it with alcohol, I was trying to hit it with my slide hammer. And I'm like, this thing is going to kill me. I'm going to be knocking down for hours. So I couldn't find my heat gun because normally I just take my heat gun and reheat it from the back.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I'd left it. So I just couldn't find it. So I took my glue gun and I re-glued the whole back of the tab, like put a pile of glue behind it and around it, which went through the tab and heated it. And then I shot it real quick with alcohol again, peeled that sucker right off, and then just took the glue that I had on the tab and just ripped it right off with the glue that was on the front of it.
Nice.
Cool,
Shoot.
cool. So
Tech tip.
this one comes from Facebook, and to be honest with you, I wrote down the guy's name and I don't have it with
forgot.
me. So, and this guy posted it on Facebook. Really good idea. So he ran over one of his glue tabs and it bent the glue tab, and in kind of an oval shape.
A sombrero.
Yeah, like a sombrero. There you go.
I have one of them. It's my favorite tab, dude. It fits right in creases and stuff.
So his tech tip is to stick them into a vise and then crank down on the vise, and it'll make it into a sombrero shape or a taco shape. You squeeze the edges together and it makes it look like a taco, and then it'll fit right inside of a deeper.
That's what I do. That's what I do with my Kiko tabs.
Yeah, but he's talking like gangrene and stuff like that. It was Mike Bocek.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Bosec. Yeah.
Bocek.
I got an Atlas nickel size tab that's that, and I've been calling it the sombrero for like 2 years. And I'm always looking for it. I'm like, where is the sombrero? But I guess I didn't put two and two together. I could put it in a vise. I was thinking about how I could run it over again.
Right.
I'm going to lay a bunch of them out, and I'm just going to drive my car back and forth and see which ones turn into sombreros.
Well, should we wrap it up? Just to read,
Yeah.
For all you listeners, we love Dentcraft tools. If you think we were getting negative on them a little bit, don't even pay attention to that, because we all own Dentcraft tools and we love them to death.
Well, we hope to maybe cook a little fire underneath them to kind of do a little more innovation, reach out to dent techs, see what they want, make some custom tools, listen to us. And
I mean, how would it help? How could we help the industry if we just sugarcoated everything?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, here's
like
you know what, you guys, we're all right on different things. You know how Apple gets better at their products? Do you know how big businesses get better with their products? Is that they beta test. They let people give them feedback. They let them try new things, give them criticism, what's working, what's not working. That's how PDR companies should run their stuff, is like let the techs.
We're like a focus group.
Them. Yeah,
right
it's
here.
the family. Like this is if this is your customers, why don't you make sure you listen to your customers and see what they want, and make it. You're the tool company. That's what you should be doing.
The companies that take it personal, and I've seen this happen before. There was an app company that came into the business, and some suggestions were made, and it was clear that the gentleman was taking it really personal because it was his baby. But that is the worst thing you can do, because that company's not around any longer, and that's the worst thing you can do, because you don't take that personal. A smart business person hears that and they say, "Wow, if one person has the balls to say it, then 100 people are probably thinking it." Yeah. So, and if you start hearing common objection or common problems, you have to address that as a company.
Yeah.
We have to applaud A1 for doing that, because, Maria, they've owned that company for years now. And now they have finally figured that out, that they need to get out there and talk to technicians, get their input, and start putting out new.
All right, guys. Well, we are wrapping this up. Thanks a lot for joining us once again. We will see you guys on the next video, and don't do anything I wouldn't do twice.
And level up your tools, guys. Get out there and buy something new.
And you better get on our Facebook page, because it's called PDR Tool Time Revolution, and you need to join this revolution.
Later on, guys.
Peace out.